Okay,
So,
okay, okay, good. So, you know, the kind of scores that we are seeing in this IPL, they're pretty high, of course. But I see that this as the NASA moment that we had with one day cricket with Kalu and Jayasuriya. They did something that we thought, ki, acha, 250 is doable. And I think in this case, Abhishek and our man Travis Head are trying to prove the same. But the other problem that I have with the IPL is the entire hopes of having a balanced team, a new young Indian team that we thought they could give to the World Cup, which they have not. So I'm pretty disappointed
Manan,
overall. I'd leave it to you guys to kind of agree, disagree, and dissect whether Hardik Pandya should have been there, whether Rinku Singh should be there or not. But that's all from me.
oh my God, Manan, we're
Ah,
we're doing this podcast after almost 2 months. You want to first say hi to our audience? I like how you've directly jumped
ah,
into the meat of things.
The bloke's driving. Come on, you don't want to get in charge with distracted driving.
yes.
It's been a long wait, but here at the Common Fan podcast, we believe in quality over quantity. And now, with the IPL getting exciting and the World Cup squads announced, we gather again to have a discussion on all things cricket. In the space of 3 hours, the Royal Challengers Bengaluru, as they're called, went from languishing last to now being a semi-respectable seventh. The man, the myth, the legend that is MS Dhoni keeps CSK and IPL going, putting them just outside the top four. Mumbai Indians, on the other hand, are looking like taking the wooden spoon for the first time ever. To discuss this and many more things, we have Ritwik and Vijay. Boys, I must admit, I have not seen much of the IPL, given it starts at midnight Australia time. So I'll go to you guys for the discussion. But Ritwik, you have a head racket in the background. To keep this safe for work, I won't make the other joke that I think I could have. But I suppose the wounds have not still healed. Mate, you need to move on.
I could have possibly moved on till the time I saw Head and Cummins playing for the same team, and then Head doing to the other IPL teams what he did to us on that tragic evening. But we have had enough feedback that it's high time for us to get over the World Cup. So probably I should remove that racket also from behind me. And quality over quantity is the lamest excuse that I've ever heard for a lack of planning and laziness. That's something that the common fans have been guilty of. Coming back to the IPL, so I'm happy to see Rajasthan Royals at the top. Sanju Samson has been pretty good. He has been leading from the front, and for a change, he has been consistent with the runs, and that's probably what has got him that much sought after World Cup cap as well. Uh, Mumbai Indians right at the bottom. So there was one change, which one player that moved from Gujarat Titans to Mumbai Indians that has upset the rhythm for three teams. Now Gujarat is in shambles. Shubman Gill has become the captain. I'm really not sure how captaincy works in IPL teams because they just pick up the biggest player, biggest star, and make him the captain. I don't think anybody looks for leadership skills or anything like that. It's probably also a bit unfair on Shubman Gill because he's just 23. See, he has still not made it to the World Cup squad, so he's not there in the big player league yet. And suddenly being given the responsibility of captaining an IPL team is probably a bit early for him. Mumbai Indians is in shambles, like I said before. There is absolutely nothing which is going their way. Hardik Pandya's form has been off. Rohit Sharma is not batting well. There are stories of all kinds that the team is not united. There were so many pictures or videos coming on screen that the bowlers are listening to Rohit Sharma and not to Hardik Pandya. So Pandya did the smart thing. He made Rohit Sharma the impact player in the last game, and Sharma was not there on the field. And to buy Hardik Pandya, Mumbai Indians had to let go Cameron Green. RCB picked up Cameron Green for around 17 crores odd, and Cameron Green has got what 100 odd runs this IPL. And instead of Cameron Green, RCB could have picked up two fast bowlers or any international bowler. That's something they did not do. So it's eventually Hardik Pandya's move that has actually screwed up three teams this IPL. So for playoffs, I think I'm really not caring much whether CSK wins or not because I think Thala had his time in the last IPL. He's doing exactly what he had promised. He's giving a gift to all his fans, coming out for 5 or 6 balls and hitting a few sixes. The team that I was actually supporting this IPL was Punjab because Preeti Zinta has been looking as gorgeous as she ever did. And I've supported Mumbai Indians in the first few IPLs because of Sachin. There had been a loyal Chennai fan, but this time I didn't have anybody to support. So I thought, okay, Punjab may be the team, but looks like my support hasn't really worked for them. What do you think, Vijay? Still a CSK fan? I see a picture of you from Chinnaswamy, possibly. Can you care to tell us something about it?
So this is from Chepak, not Chinnaswamy. And this is from, I think,
Bye bye.
2010, where, there still used to be live performances before each game in the IPL. So I was invited to perform along with the singer you see there, Chinmay. And
Wow.
pretty much how the reaction, like the guy on the left, that is how everyone's been reacting this season for how CSK has been performing. So yeah, I was just like reliving one of the IPL moments that I had. I did attend one game this time around, the one that we played against Kolkata in Chepak, and that was the first time Mahibai actually came out to bat in Chennai this season. That was also the
So
game where
just a question. So what do you mean by performing? Were you a cheerleader?
no, I was singing.
Okay,
I
sorry.
I don't think
To
the
be
IPL
fair,
will stand
Chinmay's got
once.
bigger guns than Mr. Vijay here.
Yeah. Also, look, the IPL is not prepared to watch me, bust some moves on there, man. Like, I'm sorry, but it is not. It is harmful to the environment if I do that. So anyway, so look, it's been a really interesting season of IPL. Interesting because the points table is rather evenly distributed this time around as well. There are no, like, especially the middle of the table. It looks like anybody could make that top four. I am wishing CSK would, but it's looking increasingly unlikely, especially after Sunrisers, for all the flack that we gave them, and that spoiled child who picks the team based on wherever, it felt like a throw of the dice, to be honest, during the auctions when Sunrisers was just randomly picking up players. But looks like they do have a solid team. And between Travis Head and Pat Cummins, they've got two legendary Australian players who are in the peak of their form, which does not augur well for us in the T20 World Cup, given the damage that those two have unleashed against India in the past. Hmm. CSK, look, I have been rooting for Ruturaj Gaikwad, and I think the whole of Chennai, the transition's been really good this time around, unlike the Jadeja experiment that happened a couple of years ago. CSK has been putting their weight behind Ruturaj Gaikwad. Also, I think there's also a little bit of that denial among CSK fans that MS Dhoni is not going to be around for much longer with the team, uh, simply because he does appear in that tiny itsy bitsy role right at the end of each innings. Like he literally walked out when we had like 3 runs to win of some 15 balls or something. Jadeja pretended to come out and then he went back in and Dhoni walked out to score that 1 run, and the crowd went bonkers. So did I. Like I was part of that crowd. So this is all about an individual player. This is not about the team. This is about the individual player. And I feel like this is one of those rare occasions where it's okay for it to be about this individual player. Considering he is actually contributing positively to the team, and his strike rate right now is, I think, probably the best in the CSK's batting lineup so far. It's upwards of 250. And he literally just got out for the first time in the IPL last game. So his average is probably in the hundreds as well. So yeah, it's been a great season, and I am taking a lot of pleasure in watching the downfall of Mumbai Indians, and especially after Hardik Pandya's entry. You can buy anything, but you cannot buy class. You cannot buy I don't know. I was going to say talent, but I think Mumbai Indians does not lack talent in any department. It's just about the team coming together, and this. I'm sure there will be those overzealous corporate types that will put long form posts on LinkedIn about how leadership matters, and blah blah blah, how it's not just enough to have the right talent, you need to have the right leadership and bullshit like this Mumbai Indians is a great case study. It's rife for cringy LinkedIn posts, and I'm just like really happy about the fact that they're not doing too well. Gautam Gambhir, is it going to be his year? That's my question, because he is back in his spiritual hometown, which is Kolkata Knight Riders, and they've been doing extremely well. Sunil Narayan's been, the West Indian Cricket Board is pleading for him to come back into the national squad, and he's like, nope, that's a chapter that's behind me. He's pretending to be Dhoni here. On the other hand, I wish Dhoni were called up to the Indian squad, because he has been performing his role absolutely brilliantly, and I don't think we have as explosive a batsman in the Indian lineup as Dhoni is currently. I'm just being very careful with that statement, but I kind of believe it. So, PK, what are your thoughts? I will pass that back on. I've been talking for a while.
Well, look, before we move on to the 2020 selection, I want to ask you both one very interesting topic, two interesting topics. Firstly, what the hell's happening with boundaries in the IPL? Is it like 10 meters or something? Everyone's just smashing it. I mean, I understand the concept of IPL being a batter's paradise, but bloody hell, just keep a bowling machine and we'll just get batters to just hit sixes. That's me from my past avatar as a bowler. The other thing I also wanted to say about one player that's relevant to both you boys, and you've mentioned, Vijay, is this going to be MSD's last season in the famous canary yellow jersey? And Ritvik, have you also thought of settling down in Chennai like your fellow Ranchiite?
I am pretty convinced this is going to be MS Dhoni's last season, at least as a batsman and as a playing member of the CSK squad. I will not be surprised if he comes back in the form of a mentor or some sort of coach in subsequent seasons, because knowing MS Dhoni, he might just go off to like farm some potatoes or something. But then he does have a very deep connection with Chennai and its people and the team. So I feel like he will be part of the scheme of things. And I think we Chennai fans got the swan song, the Dhoni swan song that we deserved in the last season. So right now, this is just like, living on that extra hope of just being able to see him come out and do his thing. I don't think any Chennai fan truly believes that we have a shot at the cup this time around, given the way the team's been playing and given the way they've been, especially, I feel like this is one of those formative years. Usually CSK has those once every 2-3 years, especially around the auctions, where the team absolutely goes down in the dumps. But then I think we've done better than we were expecting. So I feel like we will end up fifth, probably around closer to the qualifiers. I don't see us qualifying, but if we do, then it's anybody's guess what might happen, because you know how CSK are once they enter the qualifiers. Ritvik, what are your thoughts, and do you need recommendations for places to stay in Chennai in case you're planning to shift? I'm more than happy to like welcome you back to the city.
Well, I've actually lived in Chennai for 2 years, and that's one area where I bet Dhoni to it, because I was there in Chennai from 2002 to 2004, much before Dhoni made his debut. So I'm pretty familiar with that part of the country. Uh, that said, yes, I believe it's Dhoni's last IPL as a player, and I don't expect a big announcement or something. But one day you will just realize that for the next IPL, Chennai has announced its squad and there's no Dhoni in it, right? That's what happened this time as well. Like when big captains go, they do it with a bang. They will put out posts, they'll do press conferences, etc. But what did MSG do? He did nothing. It was only when BCCI put up a picture of all the IPL captains posing with the trophy. The picture did not have Dhoni, but it had Gaikwad in it. So that's when we realized that Dhoni has stepped down from the captaincy. So he's really innovative when it comes to announcements like these. Yeah, and this IPL has been crazy. Like if you bowl on the batsman's hips, probably a fart will also send the ball over the boundary rope. So it's been honestly, I've really not enjoyed those games where the runs have where the targets have been beyond 250. It doesn't seem like an even contest between bat and ball, and probably that's the old cricket fan inside me who hopes for an even contest. And I'm actually wondering if the same will happen on slow turning pitches in West Indies. So it may not be the same playbook that teams will be able to replicate when it comes to the World Cup, which is barely 4 to 5 months away. What do you guys think?
Look, I honestly don't think the boundaries have gotten shorter or the pitches have gotten flatter. I mean, I'm sure some of those pitches have always been flat. There has also been a change in the mindset, just in terms of how people are looking at this game. And I think once one team started doing it, and I believe it was SRH that started the whole onslaught, where like, okay, let's just throw the kitchen sink at it. And the one game that it worked, I guess it gave a lot of confidence for the other teams to also start trying to do that. Otherwise, I feel like it's just a change in the mindset. Every few years this has happened. Like, when the T20 World Cup started, or rather when IPL started, scores of around 160 were considered decent, defendable, and then 180 was like a safe score, right? And then some 7-8 years later, 200 became like a normal safe score, and 180 was like, okay, sure, defendable, and 160 is like it's going to be a close game. And now 160 is like, it's not enough no matter what the pitch is, right? Having said that, there are still some rank turners. Like Chepak once in a while throws up a pitch that you'll be hard pressed to like score above 140. So even in those pitches, like Chepak, the record's been broken this time for the I think the highest run chase. It was against us. It was against CSK. So I feel like it's a mindset thing. Like why Ritvik, you mentioned that the West Indies might have turning pitches. I'm not really sure if they're going to be turning pitches as opposed to say typical West Indian bouncy ones. There are also games being played in the US, and I have no idea what those pitches are going to be like. For all you know, I mean, I like I said, I've got no idea. I mean, all I know is that there's going to be lots of fries and sugary stuff in the stadium, and hopefully no guns. But PK, what are your thoughts? And
Before PK comes in, uh, I think Brendan McCullum would really agree to what Vijay said. 160 was an at par score in the first IPL, right? That's what McCullum did in the first game, 158.
This is the thing. I reckon because of like all the LEDs and stuff, like to make the IPL more friendly, viewer friendly with all the LED lightings and everything, the boundary rope has to probably come in 10, 15 yards. And now you've got those bats, which are, just literally light AF, but go a mile. I mean, this is how it is. Great segue, both of you. And this is a great time to be talking about the T20 World Cup squad, and specifically for India and Australia and some of the other countries. Look, to be fair, when I saw the World Cup squad for India come up, I thought surely the best keeper in the T20 format right now, looking at the IPL, MS Dhoni is not in the squad, and I felt disappointed. But then I realized it wasn't 2007. Unless the BCCI can coax him out of retirement or ask for an impact player or an impact squad kind of rule, I don't think we're going to see MSD. What we are going to be seeing is the man himself, Mr. Hardik Pandya, being in the squad. So let me start off with you, Ritvik. Does Hardik Pandya deserve a spot, and does he deserve to be vice captain?
I will say yes to both the questions. I don't think India has a fast bowling all-rounder better than Hardik Pandya right now. And despite his poor form, there are really not too many contenders for that particular slot. Some people might say that Shivam Dube is in red hot form, but he hasn't really bowled. And that's what even Rohit Sharma said, that because of the impact player rule, part-timers like Shivam Dube are not able to bowl. That said, even Shivam Dube at his best is probably a poor man's Yuvraj Singh. So I would say that yes, Hardik Pandya deserves to be in the squad despite everything. Vice captain, yes, because he was the captain of the Indian team, right? Till very recently of the T20 squad. So once Rohit Sharma decided to come back and BCCI and Jay Shah were kind enough to give him captaincy, then it's obvious that Hardik Pandya should be the vice captain.
Fair point. Before I go to Vijay, I just want to say, look, it's a fair point you said, because ultimately, given the fact that it's Hardik Pandya, he'll probably get injured in the second or third game, which means we can probably get another player in. So I reckon it could work. Vijay, what are your thoughts?
Look, I've always been ambivalent about Hardik Pandya because I know the BCCI said that if he needs to make the national squad, he needs to be bowling 4 overs in every game, right? And then Hardik Pandya has subsequently been doing exactly that, sometimes at the cost of Bumrah opening with a new ball. And we've all seen how those results have gone. I mean, at this point, it feels like even I could score like 10 runs off his overs, right? So I am not very confident about Hardik Pandya's bowling chops. And I actually feel, and you know what, I would be the last person to say this, but I kind of feel sad for KL Rahul missing out on that squad selection compared to like
Come
Hardik Pandya.
on.
He is objectively a much better batsman than Hardik Pandya is. Come on, you
Yeah,
have
but
to.
they're really not competing for the same slot.
No, they're not. But I mean, I don't know, man. I'm sure we've got other talent, and I also understand there's a lot of the recency effect of the IPL, and so people have been throwing around names like Abhishek Sharma or I don't know. I'm also glad Ishan Kishan didn't make the cut because he's been in like piss poor form throughout. Like I can't remember like a last good innings from him for the national squad either. So look,
That 200 against Bangladesh or something, right? Or New
yeah,
Zealand.
what
Who
is
did he
that?
get a double 100 against?
I think it was Bangladesh. Do we need that all-rounder spot is my question, to be honest. Like, who else? Because there's a few people I can think who could have made the squad and pushed everything else down the order. So are we talking about, okay, let's talk about the team, right? So Ritvik, What do you think is the lineup going to look like? In my head, like, what are Rohit Sharma and Kohli going to be opening for India?
No. Jaiswal.
So you would imagine Jaiswal and Rohit Sharma opening, Kohli coming in at one down, and
Yeah.
who's our number four? So
Pant, Pant or Samson, or maybe both of them. I don't know.
yeah, so we're talking about. I feel like that number four spot we could have accommodated somebody like a Ruturaj or a Shubman Gill. To be honest, I
I
really
don't
feel
think.
Ruturaj missing out because if you've been noticing his batting, amidst all of the flurry of runs and amidst all of the tonking, he's been playing a brand of cricket that's been like really good to look at, as well as it's gone at a great clip. So I just feel like he's one of those people who missed out selection in spite of performing consistently. Really glad Samson's back in the squad because it is about time. I mean, there's been a lot of hype about Samson not making it to the India squad and him being a deserving player. I am really interested to see what he brings to the table now that he is in the squad and there's a realistic chance of Samson making the cut. I feel like Samson will be the first choice wicketkeeper batsman for India over Pant. Yeah, we've got Jadeja and then we've got Kulcha, right? Kulcha, both of them have made the squad, right?
Hmm.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah,
Go
we're
ahead.
saying number 4, number 5 is Samson and Pant. And then we've
Yeah,
got
Samson Pant, and then there's going to be a toss up between. So Pandya will be
Surya.
there definitely. I think they will want to
You
get
know what?
Shivam Dube.
I think number 4 would be Surya Kumar Yadav, and then 5, 6 would be
Yeah,
Samson
the
and
Sky as well. The Sky as well. Honestly, you know what? I'm not very confident about Sky either
neither am I. Neither am I. I mean,
because
that should have been see, which is why I said that number 4 spot could have been a lot of people that are not necessarily Sky and
Gaikwad and Gill are anchors. So
yeah.
both of them have very similar style of playing. Like they would like to take a few balls in the beginning and then
Yeah.
gradually pace their innings up. We already have a Virat Kohli who does that. Rohit Sharma may be doing exactly the same thing. So we need a good blend, and that's why I feel that Yashasvi Jaiswal is a very brave choice. It's a positive
Yeah, yeah.
move that the team has done.
I'm happy with that.
What I'm really intrigued by is the logic behind selecting four spinners:
Hmm.
Jadeja, Akshar Patel, and Kulcha. What
Yeah.
Rinku Singh could have been there. See, Kuldeep had to be there. I don't know where Chahal came from. Um, Honestly, I think Jadeja shouldn't have made it to the squad. He really doesn't have great T20 numbers. He has less than 500 T20 international runs in a career which has been on for over 15 years. Um, I think his bowling is also probably past his prime. His fielding is good, but I've really not seen him affecting those miraculous runouts which he used to. So definitely, I feel Jadeja is a player who's past his prime. He had no business being in the squad, but probably a lot of players have made to the team based on their reputation rather than form. Rinku Singh should have been there. Come on, like we need some fresh blood.
Look,
So
I think
if I can just
sorry, PK, go on.
So I was just gonna look. I was speaking to my friend Sanat from Brisbane, and as usual, we were doing a pick our 15 game that we all do. Having zero skin in the game, all three of us, because let's face it, we're not selectors. Honestly speaking, neither Rohit nor Virat should have been in the squad. All right, I'll say it. They shouldn't have been in the squad. That then also goes for Jadeja, right? I think India's best squad in the 2020 World Cup was a squad in 2007, which ultimately won the game, right? It was fresh, it was new, it was fearless. I reckon the BCCI should have ballsed up and gone with that, right? Now, obviously, not having a decent captain hurts, which is why we brought Rohit back in. And if you bring Rohit in, you can't not bring in Virat. And if you bring Virat in, you've got Jadeja as well. So you've got basically 3 in the 15, right? 20% of your squad's done. But if we look at the top 4 batters, and we were talking about that, look, it's going to be Jaiswal, Rohit opening, then possibly Sky at 3, Kohli at 4, right? None of those top 4 can either bowl or keep wicket. I know Kohli's got a great bowling action, but I'm not going to get 4 overs out of him, which is why Rinku Singh can't come, because of the fact that, we also need an extra bowler, which is probably Chahal. Look, either way, I would have gone for I think Arshdeep Singh. He's not in the squad either. He's not even a
He's there. Yeah, he's there.
Oh, sorry. So I would have, looked at Avesh Khan. Sorry, not Arshdeep Singh. Avesh Khan is a backup bowler, but they've gone with Chahal as a second wrist spinner. But I reckon that's the reason. Given the fact that our top four cannot bowl or keep wicket, and I don't think we're going to get Samson and Pant playing in the same team, right? Unless we're saying that Samson deserves to be in the 11 purely on the strength of his batting alone. Because I reckon Rishabh Pant is going to keep wicket.
See,
I wouldn't. Yeah, go
yeah.
on, Ritik.
See, honestly, I've heard a lot of people say that the 2017 was the best team, and we would have had the same logic in picking up a team this time as well. But see, that team was a once in a lifetime bet that worked. Nobody was the BCCI wasn't really paying a lot of attention to T20 cricket. The big players were fresh from a debacle that was the 50 overs World Cup, and they thought they'll just skip a tournament which was meant for kids. And it was nothing short of a miracle that we worked, that we ended up winning the tournament. And I think even after that, we have sent quite a few strong teams to the World Cup. I think in 2014 we made it to the finals, but then those wide, slow Yorkers by Malinga and co, they ruined the final for us. I think
That's what I'm asking. Why can't we go with a young team? Why can't we say, do you want to play cricket for India? If you want to play cricket for India, the first team that you get to play for, apart from the under-19s, the under-20s and whatnot, should be the 2020, India 2020. And then from there, if you're good, you can play some of the other brands of cricket too.
we can't operate in extremes. So just because a young team ended up winning the 2007 World Cup, you can't put a blanket rule that, hey, I've got an age cutoff that nobody above the age of 32 makes it to the team. So Virat possibly made it because of his big match temperament. The 2 sixes that he hit off Harris Roff that made sure that he's playing the next 2 or 3 World Cups. So he's definitely there because of big match temperament. Rohit is the captain. I don't think the BCCI would trust Hardik Pandya with captaincy in a World Cup, not just because of his cultural or leadership issues, but also because of his fitness. So I don't think there was a way in which we could have kept Rohit and Virat out of the squad. Coming back to the others, my only concern possibly was with not taking Rinku Singh and picking up Jadeja. I don't think Jadeja has any business being in the squad.
Look, I will bat for Jadeja just for a while more because of that same big match temperament that you were speaking about, Ritvik. I mean, he had the same issues, if you remember, in the 2019 World Cup. And then he was the only player that scored something worthwhile in that final when everything else was going south for us. 10 runs to win off 2 balls last year's IPL. We all know who scored those 10 runs for CSK to get us the cup. That is the big match temperament that I feel Jadeja will bring. I mean, I know he's not been in the best of form, and that's typically been a Jadeja trajectory always, right? So
You're comparing a 50-over World Cup and an IPL final.
No, I'm talking about because I'm talking about temperament, right? It doesn't matter. It's just about crunch situation and being able to manufacture those shots.
I'm talking about form and skill, which are as important as temperament.
You cannot doubt Jadeja's skill, man. Form, sure. It's like
T20 internationals. Look at his numbers. Do you know how many runs he has in T20 internationals? 480.
Yeah, but that's also because he's batting much down the order.
So he has no business being in the team as a batsman, right? So he can't really occupy the 7 or 8 number slot. His strike rate is barely 120. Jadeja's strike rate is barely 120, and you look at his recent numbers, they are really not good.
Wait, I think the strike rate of most of the Indian players right now who have been selected in that T20 squad is nothing to write home about. And I include, the likes of Virat Kohli here because
better than Jadeja's, and different. See, for number 6, 7, 8, maybe not 8, but 6 and 7, you really need power hitters, people who can get you that 60 of 30. I don't see Jadeja doing that. Honestly, looking at Pandya's recent form, not too confident about Pandya as well. But I definitely don't see Jadeja winning us any games like that.
Okay, look, I am going to let's wait for the World Cup because I will call a bet saying that Jadeja is going to be a really useful player for the World Cup. But we'll see how that goes. My 11, it's looking like Rohit, Jaiswal, Kohli. Look, Surya Kumar again, man. I'm a bit confused and concerned. Like, is he a big game player? I know he's got the shot.
You really can't be concerned about Sky for a T20 game and be okay with Jadeja. I think that's the CSK fan inside you speaking.
let's park that Jadeja conversation for, like I said, you've got your view, I've got mine. Let's see how it plays out. I'm just putting a bet on Jadeja. That's it, right? But Surya
Or,
Kumar, I think there were a few other deserving players who could have got that spot. And being the CSK tragic that I am. Okay, let's talk about Shivam Dube being even considered in the scheme of things, because honestly, look, Dhoni as a captain, he's got about 25 tricks per game, right? And in that scheme of 25 tricks, a one-trick pony works.
I think the
Team India,
yeah
if they want to play Dube, they should only play him in the same capacity that CSK is playing him right now, which is he occupies exactly two square, feet of space in that crease, doesn't move around, tonks the ball, plays about 10 to 15 balls, and then gets out. That should be Dube's role. Do not make him field, do not make him bowl. It will be detrimental.
Well, I mean,
So,
you can't not do
and
that because there is no impact
not
player
an impact player, exactly. So it's a baffling selection for me. As much as I enjoy Dube's shots, and like Ritvik said, he's a poor man's Yuvraj Singh. I don't think he is going to be useful to the Indian team, to be honest. Unless he has really good bowling chops or fielding chops, none of which have been on display. Like, he took a wicket the other day. CSK made him bowl, and again, it was predictably it went predictably south. Of course, he took a lucky wicket, and then he, I think, conceded 20 runs of the same over. So that is Dube for you.
Guys,
so
before we move on, I wanted to
yeah,
just
just a point about Dube. I think there is some magic formula that CSK, Dhoni, and Gaikwad have when they know how to unleash Dube on a very specific set of bowlers, spinners or slow medium paces. They send him accordingly. And I also read an article on Crick Info that they have been using Dube very smartly. And if they can share some tricks, the same tricks with Rohit Sharma and co, then probably Dube can win us a game or two.
No, but to be honest, if that's going to be the approach, then I might as well, call back MS Dhoni, because he's been striking at a better clip than Dube has, and use him smartly, right? Look, he is still the only thing you won't get from MS Dhoni is probably actually you'll get everything, right? So play him at number 8, like he does right now for CSK, and then he's the best wicketkeeper among Pant himself and Samson. So, and you've got like a quasi captain as well.
exactly
So
what I said 30 seconds ago, or 5 minutes ago when we started this discussion. I wanted to actually put one
just like
thing.
contrasting Dube's selection. If you're gonna pick Dube, might as well pick Dhoni.
So this is where it comes to, right? This impact player stuff in the IPL has screwed us over. I reckon, Rithwik, you mentioned how 2007 was a once in a generation, right? We had some great all-rounders, particular Y Singh, 36 runs of 6 balls, right? And some amazing plays that he did bowling as well. Why do we not have great all-rounders? Is because of the shitty rule that we call the impact player rule. And I reckon if India is going to get knocked out of the World Cup again, which, let's face it, it most likely will, it's going to be because we continue to progress with this shitty rule called the impact player rule that's not in the playing conditions for the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, very much. Like, it's detrimental, and even Rohit Sharma said that the likes of Shivam Dube, and I think he also took Washington Sundar's name, that these guys are not able to bowl. And anyways, our top order doesn't bowl at all. So probably Rohit Sharma was also hoping that Shivam Dube will have a good season with the ball and he can actually keep Hardik Pandya out of the playing 11. But that hasn't happened. and in fact, I think Dube also said that before the IPL, Rohit told him that show us what you have. And if you perform well, then you'll probably have the World Cup ticket. And that's what has happened. So Rohit Sharma definitely wants somebody to take the Hardik Pandya slot. That said, because you were speaking about Yuvraj Singh, it's pretty ironical that we probably found a replacement for Sachin Tendulkar in Virat Kohli, like somebody who got 50 hundreds, but we have still not been able to get a replacement for Yuvraj Singh or even a Virender Sehwag for that matter.
Sehwag, we have not got Yuvraj Singh. And we saw that in the World Cup that just happened. I know, let's move away from it. But still, it happened in the World Cup. It's going to happen in this T20 World Cup. It's going to happen in every single ICC knockout series until we figure out what the hell's wrong with us finding all-rounders. Vijay, 30 seconds on that.
Look, I agree that the impact player rule has sort of, brought a lot of unidimensional players into the scheme of things as far as the IPL is concerned. But I don't think that is ruining. I mean, I wouldn't be as dramatic about calling that the single reason why India is going to get knocked out of the World Cup. There are other reasons why we won't make it through, including Australia being in tremendous form and all of their players looking absolutely dangerous. Like,
Dude, even Stark got 4 wickets in the last game.
he did, yeah. And I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared of this Australian team right now because they've been firing on all cylinders and they've got an incredible captain in Patrick Cummins, who ironically will not be captaining the T20 squad because they've got another captain for that and they're completely okay with that. Their egos do not take a beating because of all of that, which is something I wish Team India got a little more used to. And I know there's a lot of Western commentary about how India is about individual players as opposed to the team, and it's not about players stepping up for that situation, for that game. The more I see this team getting selected and the way they're playing, I just feel like that line of thought might actually be right, and we should be building a team that is all about those crunch moments and winning the game for the country rather than individual milestones. I think we've had, our generation especially has had enough of adulation and looking up to players who are all about records and centuries. But I think it's time to move on. We're seeing a younger crop of players coming up who are batting really well and batting in great situations. We've seen some incredible chases. That Punjab chase was, how good was that, right? So, and it was all like, young Indian blokes doing it. So yeah, I think Ritvik, your thoughts. I don't think I've given a definitive answer for the impact player question, but I just feel like it's time to look at the T20 game a bit differently from a traditional one day or a test squad in terms of strategizing and in terms of what we want out of our players.
So, final thoughts from me, like with all this talk about cricket being a team sport, I really feel that what we lack is genuine match winners. That's something we had the luxury of having in Dada's team when Sachin, Dada himself, Sehwag, Yuvraj, and later Dhoni used to play. Like Dhoni, a few years in the beginning when he used to bat with those long locks of hair, he was a revelation. And over the last few years, we have really not had a lot of match winners. Um, Obviously, there are the Rohits and Virats, but I really don't remember Rohit winning a game on his own. And I think Indian cricket is used to that. There has to be one player who steps up in a game and gets that big 100, or in this, or in T20s, gets that big 70 or 80, and the others rally around him. Let's hope that somebody this World Cup does that. There is somebody every game who's playing that lead match winner knock or getting those crucial 3-4 wickets, and we may have a good World Cup.
Great segue there. Great segue by Vijay and also Yuratvik. I want to talk about the squad that's a bit more interesting. The brightest young T20 talent that is Jake Fraser-McGurk. The contender to one of Australia's GOATs, that is Steve Smith. Both of them left out of the Australian squad. Vijay, as you said, Mitchell Marsh, captain, not Pat Cummins, who's got a T20, who's got a one-day World Cup and the World Test Championship under his belt. So we've got Mitchell Marsh as captain. We've got Ashton Agar. I'd still say we've got the Australian version of Talent Sharma, that is Cam Green in the squad. Vijay, as an Australian citizen, what do you think about the Australian T20 World Cup squad? And I know you are shit scared. Where do you reckon they're going to be?
Look, I think they're going to win this World Cup. There's no two thoughts about it. They are strongest favorites to win this World Cup, in my opinion. Cam Green, I agree with you. He's not been great. And Fraser McGurk getting left out is a bit like, there was a lot of hype around the types of Ishan Kishan when he was in new, and he was also talking the ball left, right, and center. So I feel like Australia have done the right thing by observing him for a bit more and then maybe, including him in the scheme of things. Having said that, he is a really exciting player to watch, and I quite enjoy watching him bat. But otherwise, they've got the big guns. They've got Pat Cummins in a pure capacity as bowler, which is far more deadlier than he would be if he were captain and bowling for that squad. Mitch Marsh, he's had a good run as captain of the T20 squad, so I think that's a great choice as well. Marcus Stoinis, I have to mention, he is in the squad, right? And he's been doing really well of late. So he won that game.
Contract.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, that's
I'm
that's
just
that's
saying he doesn't have a Cricket Australia contract, which is amazing from Marcus
yeah,
Stoinis' view as well.
exactly. And see, that's the whole thing. Like the squad's being selected with a view of winning that World Cup, which is something that I don't think India can ever do with the kind of baggage that we carry about our star players and about, how new players should enter the squad and egos and all of that. I wish that system somehow changed. And I don't have specific thoughts on specific players, but Steve Smith missing out again. I don't think Steve Smith himself would mind that because he's in the one day squad, he's in the test squad, and it's all like specializations, right? So it's like Ashwin missing out of the T20 squad, which I think is the right call. So I think
And
Australia.
overseas tests and overseas test matches and ODI matches.
Look, to be fair, Ashwin's 37, 38, and he's a great cricketing brain, but it all boils down to what works for that format best. I mean, it's one of those cases where I think that's a right call that India has taken in the past. So yeah, I personally think as far as the T20 World Cup is concerned, Australia are strong favorites to win the cup. And there is a CSK match coming up in a couple of hours, which we have to win to stay alive in this tournament. So please wish me and my team luck, boys. Thank you. And I will
That's
put back again.
CSK versus Preeti Zinta's mob, so I don't know how Ritik feels about that right now. That being said, a couple of other interesting team selections. Do you all remember Corey Anderson? 136 balls. That guy's
Yes.
now being picked for the US team. He's
Are you
playing for the US.
serious?
Yes,
Yeah,
he's
he's
not
the
for the
US
United
one.
States.
Oh.
Along with is Unmuk Chand the captain?
I think Unmuk Chand's the captain.
Yeah, Unmuk
Wow.
Chand's the captain. No,
Amazing.
it's no, he's not. He's not even in the squad. But
I think something had happened. Unmuk Chand has not made it to the squad.
yeah, he hasn't made it to the squad. But Corey Anderson, 100 runs and 36 balls,
Wow.
one of the fastest World Cup centuries. And he's playing for the US. And obviously in the West Indies, Ritik mentioned it earlier, Sunil Narayan's still not there, but Shamar Joseph, remember the name. He's in the squad. Looking forward to that. Let's see what happens on his home ground. That's all we have for today's episode. Thank you very, very much for tuning into the Common Fan podcast. As always, whether you're talking about cricket, watching cricket, or just reading about cricket, have a great time wherever you are. We will see you soon, and we will be much more regular once the T20 World Cup kicks off. So until then, take care and have a great day.